Don't walk away, my beloved child. Pause right where you are. I know your hand is already reaching for the door. I know your heart has grown tired of hoping, tired of believing, tired of waiting for things to change. You have told yourself that leaving will hurt less than staying, that silence is safer than disappointment, that distance will protect you from another wound. But before you turn your back, before you convince yourself that you are alone in this moment, listen to me. I see the thoughts you never speak out loud. I see the questions that keep you awake when the world goes quiet. You wonder if you mattered enough for me to notice. You wonder if you failed too many times, drifted too far, or waited too long. You wonder if this road you've been walking has led nowhere, and if all your prayers dissolved into the air without ever reaching my heart. And because the pain has lingered, you feel tempted to believe that walking away is the only way to survive. But my child, you did not arrive at this moment by accident, and I did not bring you here to abandon you. This feeling of wanting to leave did not come from the absence of my love. It came from the weight you have been carrying alone. You have been strong for so long. You have held yourself together when everything inside you felt like it was falling apart. And now your strength feels spent. I understand that. I am not offended by your weariness. I am not threatened by your doubts. Hear me clearly now, because this is the truth you must not miss. I sacrificed everything to reach you. Not because you were perfect. Not because you always chose me. Not because you never questioned or wondered. I came for you precisely because you were hurting, precisely because you were lost, precisely because you would one day stand at this edge and wonder if you should turn back. Long before you felt ready to walk away, I was already moving toward you. You think this moment is about your failure, but it is not. It is about my pursuit. You think this moment proves you are weak, but it actually reveals how deeply you have cared. If you did not care, you would not ache like this. If your heart were truly closed, you would not feel this pull to listen. Even now, when you feel numb, something in you is still reaching for me. That is not coincidence. That is my voice calling you by name. Do not mistake the pain you feel for my absence. I have been closer than you realize, even in the nights you cried without words, even in the days you felt unseen. I have watched every tear fall. I have counted every silent prayer. And I am here now, not to demand anything from you, not to shame you for wanting to leave, but to gently stop you and say, stay. Just for this moment. Stay and listen. Because what I did to reach you changes everything, and you deserve to know how far my love has gone for you. My beloved child, I see you standing at the edge. You may not call it that, but I know this place well. It is the quiet space between staying and leaving, between hoping again and giving up completely. Your body keeps moving forward, but your heart has slowed, heavy with disappointment. You smile when you must. You function when required, yet inside you feel worn thin. You are not dramatic for feeling this way. You are human, and you are tired. I see how long you have tried to be strong. I see how you carried expectations that were never meant for your shoulders alone. You told yourself you had to understand everything, fix everything, endure everything. You thought faith meant never feeling weak, never questioning, never aching. So when the pain did not disappear, you assumed something was wrong with you. But my child, nothing is wrong with you. What you are feeling is the cry of a heart that has been holding too much for too long. You stand at this edge because you have reached the limit of your own strength, and that frightens you. You wonder who you are if you cannot hold it all together anymore. You fear that if you stop striving, everything will collapse. You fear that if you admit how broken you feel, you will be judged, rejected, or forgotten. So walking away feels safer than staying vulnerable. Leaving feels easier than risking another unanswered prayer. But listen to me now. This edge you are standing on is not the end of your story. It is not proof that you failed. It is the place where I often meet my children most tenderly. When you reach the end of yourself, you are finally close enough to hear my whisper. When your strength runs out, my strength has room to carry you. You were never meant to survive on your own power. You were meant to lean into mine. I know you feel unseen. I know it seems like others move forward while you remain stuck in the same cycle of hope and disappointment. You have asked me why things take so long, why healing feels slow, why clarity feels distant. You have wondered if I see your effort, your patience, your tears. Hear this and let it settle deep within you. I see everything. Not a single moment of your endurance has gone unnoticed. Not a single tear hath been wasted. I also see the moments you felt ashamed for struggling. The moments you told yourself you should be stronger by now, better by now, further along by now. Those thoughts did not come from me. I do not measure you by progress charts or timelines. I measure you by love. And my love for you has not wavered, not even for a second. You do not disappoint me by being human. You do not burden me with your pain. You are not weak for wanting to stop. You are honest. You are not faithless for questioning. You are searching. And you are not alone in this place, even if it feels empty right now. I am standing with you at this edge, steady and calm, holding space for your heart to breathe. I am not rushing you. I am not forcing you. I am simply present. Before you decide to walk away, let me remind you something important. You do not need to have all the answers to stay. You do not need to feel strong to remain. You do not need to be certain to take one more breath with me. All I ask is that you do not judge this moment too quickly. What feels like the breaking point may actually be the doorway to rest. What feels like the end may be the place where you finally let me carry what you never could. So stay here with me just a little longer. Let your guard lower. Let your shoulders drop. Let the weight you've been holding begin to loosen, even slightly. You do not have to decide everything today. You do not have to be brave right now. You only need to be willing to be seen. And my beloved child, I see you completely, standing at this edge, and I am not afraid of what I find. My beloved child, I came looking for you. Not after you had it all together, not once you found the right words, not when you finally felt worthy. I came for you right where you are. In the confusion, in the exhaustion, in the place where you quietly wondered if anyone would notice if you disappeared. I did not wait for you to find me. I stepped into your path because my love does not stand at a distance and hope you make it back on your own. You may think this moment found you by chance, that these words are simply another voice in a long stream of noise. But I tell you the truth. I am intentional. I do not stumble into my children's lives. I pursue them. I move toward them with purpose, with patience, with unwavering resolve. Long before you pressed play, I had already set this meeting in motion. Long before you felt ready to listen, I was already speaking. I came looking for you when your prayers felt weak and unfinished. I came looking for you when your faith felt fragile, when your hope flickered instead of burned. I came looking for you when you felt disqualified by your past, when shame whispered that you had gone too far or waited too long. My child, there has never been a moment when I stopped seeking your heart. Even when you turned away, I stayed close enough to call you back. This is not about coincidence. It is about love that refuses to let go. I know the roads you have walked. I know the detours you took trying to protect yourself. I know the walls you built, not because you didn't care, but because you cared deeply and were wounded. I did not misinterpret your silence as rejection. I understood it as pain. And love responds to pain by drawing nearer. You are not listening to these words because you are strong. You are here because you are honest. Something in you is still willing to listen, still willing to hope, still willing to be reached. That quiet willingness matters more than you realize. I am not asking you to promise anything. I am not demanding a dramatic turnaround. I am simply reminding you that you are not forgotten, not overlooked, not lost beyond reach. If these words are stirring something inside you, let that be a sign. Let it remind you that your heart is still alive. And if this message is touching you, allow it to ripple outward. Bless this message with a like so it can find others who feel alone. Share it with 3 souls who are standing at their own edge, wondering if anyone sees them. And if you want to keep hearing my voice when you need comfort and clarity, stay connected. Subscribe so these words can meet you again when your heart grows weary. And yes, my child, I ask you to hype this message, to lift it high, so it can reach those who think no one is coming for them. Because I came for you, and I am still coming for them. My beloved child, if these words have reached into your heart, hear me now as I speak directly to you. I am sending this message as seed, and every seed you release helps my light reach another soul standing in the dark. I say to you, as I once declared, that what is sown in faith returns as a harvest pressed down and overflowing. This is not a donation. This is obedience in motion, love flowing through willing hands. If you feel my nudge, act now. Support this work through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, where the link waits for you in the description and in the QR code before your eyes. I bless every gift you release as oil that multiplies, as bread that never runs dry. Do it now, my child, and watch how what you place in my hands becomes life for many. My beloved child, let me speak to you about the cost of love, because this is where many misunderstand my heart. Love is not proven by how gently it speaks alone, but by how deeply it is willing to go. Real love does not remain distant when pain appears. It moves closer. It steps into what hurts. It chooses to stay even when staying is costly. And I want you to know that my love for you has never been cheap, casual, or convenient. You live in a world that often measures love by comfort. If something becomes too heavy, too demanding, too painful, it is often abandoned. You have seen relationships break when sacrifice was required. You have experienced promises fade when patience ran out. So it is natural that part of you wonders if my love is the same. You ask yourself, will he stay if this gets harder? Will he still choose me if I keep struggling? Those questions did not come from rebellion. They came from lived experience. But my love is not shaped by convenience. It is shaped by commitment. From the very beginning, love was never meant to be passive. It was always meant to be expressed through action. And action always carries a cost. To love you the way I do meant I could not remain distant. I could not simply observe your pain from afar. I could not watch you drown beneath guilt, fear, and brokenness and call that love. Love compelled me to move. I want you to understand this clearly. Nothing I gave was accidental. Nothing I endured was impulsive. Every step toward you was intentional. I knew the weight. I knew the suffering. I knew the rejection that would come with choosing to love humanity so deeply. And still, I chose to move forward. Not because I was forced, but because my heart would not allow me to do otherwise. You may think sacrifice is only about loss, but it is also about value. We only sacrifice for what matters. We only give deeply for what we treasure. My child, you are not a burden I tolerated. You are a treasure I pursued. The cost was great because your life is precious. The pain was real because your restoration matters. I did not measure the cost and decide you were not worth it. I measured the cost and decided you were. There are moments when you look at your life and feel unworthy of such love. You replay your mistakes. You remember the times you doubted, the times you walked away in your heart, the times you chose fear over trust. And you wonder how love could still reach for you after all that. But listen to me. Sacrifice is not made for the deserving. It is made for the loved. And you have always been loved. My sacrifice was not a reaction to your behavior. It was a declaration of my character. It did not begin when you believe. It began because I am love. Before you ever spoke my name, I had already chosen you. Before you ever reached for me, I had already reached for you. That is why my love does not collapse under the weight of your questions. It was built to carry them. I want you to stop seeing my sacrifice as something distant or symbolic. It was personal. It was intentional. It was for you. When you feel like giving up, when you feel tempted to walk away, remember that my love did not retreat when things became painful. It moved closer. It stayed present. It endured. And that same love is with you now, steady and unshaken by your struggle. You do not need to prove yourself to receive this love. You do not need to repay what was given. Sacrifice is not a debt placed on your shoulders. It is a door opened for your healing. I gave so you could rest. I endured so you could be restored. I stayed so you would never have to face your brokenness alone. So when you question whether you matter, return to this truth. Love that sacrifices is love that stays. And my beloved child, I am not leaving. My beloved child, I did not love you from a distance. I stepped into your pain. I entered the weight you carry, the sorrow you hide, the loneliness you rarely admit. I did not send comfort from afar or shout encouragement from the heavens while you struggled below. I came close. I chose nearness. I allowed myself to feel what you feel so you would never have to wonder if I truly understand. I know the world has taught you that power stays removed from suffering. You have seen leaders untouched by the pain of those beneath them. You have seen authority that commands without compassion. So it is easy to assume that I, too, remain untouched by your ache. But my heart has never been hardened against your tears. I know rejection. I know betrayal. I know what it is to be misunderstood and left alone. I know what it feels like to give love and have it questioned. When you feel isolated, remember that I have stood in loneliness. When you feel rejected, remember that I have felt the sting of abandonment. When you feel misunderstood, remember that I have spoken truth and watched it be twisted. I did not observe these things from a throne untouched by grief. I stepped into them. I carried them. I allowed them to mark me, so that your suffering would never be foreign to my heart. You have moments when your pain feels invisible. You sit among others and feel unseen. You speak, yet feel unheard. You carry burdens that no one asks about. In those moments, you wonder if anyone truly knows the depth of what you endure. Hear me now. I know. Not because I have studied your pain, but because I have lived within it. I have walked the roads of sorrow. I have felt the ache of waiting, the heaviness of grief, the silence that follows unanswered cries. My entering into your pain was not weakness. It was love in its strongest form. Love does not shield itself from suffering when healing is needed. It steps forward. It bears weight. It stays present. I did not come to explain away your pain or minimize it. I came to sit with you in it, to carry it with you, and to transform it from the inside out. You may ask why I did not simply remove all suffering at once, why pain still exists, why healing sometimes feels slow. Those are questions that come from a wounded heart, not a faithless one. And while not every answer can be understood right now, know this: I never waste pain. I never ignore tears. And I never abandon my children to suffer alone. Even when you cannot feel me, I am working within the pain you wish would disappear. I entered your pain so that it would no longer define you. Suffering may touch your life, but it does not own you. It does not have the final word. Because I have been there, pain no longer has authority over your future. I have walked through it and come out the other side, carrying hope, healing, and restoration in my hands. When you feel overwhelmed by memories, by wounds that still ache, by emotions you cannot name, remember this: you are not revisiting pain alone. I am with you in every step of your healing. I do not rush you. I do not shame you for needing time. I do not grow tired of your tears. I stay patient, gentle, and present. My beloved child, I stepped into your pain because love demanded it. I wanted you to know that nothing you experience is too dark, too heavy, or too broken for me to enter. There is no place you can hurt that I have not already been willing to go. And because I am with you in the pain, you do not have to remain there forever. Let this truth settle into your heart. You are not misunderstood. You are not unseen. You are not alone in what hurts. I am here, within the pain, holding you steadily, leading you toward healing one gentle step at a time. My beloved child, there were moments when you ran. Not always with your feet, but with your heart. You pulled back. You grew quiet. You told yourself you didn't care as much anymore because caring had become too painful. You built distance, not out of rebellion, but out of self-preservation. And in those moments, you wondered if I noticed. You wondered if I turned away the same way others had when things became complicated. But hear me clearly now. When you ran, I stayed. I did not withdraw my presence when you questioned. I did not step back when you struggled. I did not abandon you when your faith wavered or your emotions grew tangled. My love for you has never been fragile. It has never depended on your consistency. While you were trying to survive, I was remaining steady. While you were protecting your heart, I was guarding it. There were seasons when you stopped talking to me the way you once did. Your prayers grew shorter, or maybe they disappeared altogether. Life became loud or heavy or numb. And somewhere deep inside, you assumed this silence meant distance. But silence does not scare me. I can hear the prayers you cannot form. I can read the ache behind your quiet. Even when you said nothing, I stayed close enough to listen. You may remember times when you felt unworthy to come back. Times when shame whispered that too much time had passed, that you had failed too deeply, that you had disappointed me beyond repair. But that voice was not mine. I do not measure relationship by performance. I do not keep score of your missteps. I look at your heart, and I see a child who was trying to make it through pain the best way they knew how. When you ran, I did not chase you with anger. I followed you with patience. I waited without resentment. I remained without conditions. My love does not panic when you struggle, and does not tighten its grip out of fear. It stays grounded, secure, and open, trusting that love, when genuine, will always draw the heart home. There were nights when you felt completely alone, when you cried quietly or stared into the dark wondering if anyone cared. You assumed I was distant because you could not feel me. But my presence is not limited by your awareness. I was there in the stillness. I was there in the ache. I was there holding space for you when you felt you had nowhere to turn. I stayed when you doubted my goodness. I stayed when you misunderstood my timing. I stayed when you were angry, confused, or disappointed. I stayed when you tried to convince yourself you didn't need me. I stayed because love does not leave when things get uncomfortable. It remains anchored, especially when storms rise. You see, my beloved child, my faithfulness is not reactive. It does not change with your emotions. It is not shaken by your questions. It does not withdraw when you stumble. My love is not something you activate by doing everything right. It is something I give because it is who I am. And now, as you stand here listening, perhaps feeling closer than you have in a long time, I want you to know this. There is no distance you need to make up. There is no penalty for the seasons you pulled away. You are not starting over from nothing. You are simply becoming aware again of what never left. I stayed so you would always have a place to return. I stayed so you would never have to wonder if the door was still open. I stayed so that when you were ready to listen again, my voice would still be gentle, familiar, and full of love. So release the fear that tells you it's too late. Release the shame that says you ran too far. I am here, just as I always have been. Not waiting with crossed arms, but with open hands. Not keeping record of your absence, but rejoicing in your presence. When you ran, I stayed. And I am still here now, closer than your next breath, ready to walk with you forward, together. My beloved child, there were weights you were never meant to carry alone, yet you tried. You lifted burdens with trembling hands and told yourself you would manage somehow. You carried regret from the past, fear about the future, and grief from moments you never fully healed. You carried expectations that crushed your spirit and labels that never belonged to you. And slowly, without realizing it, your soul grew tired under the load. But I saw the weight. I saw how it pressed against your heart and bent your hope. I saw how you smiled through exhaustion and kept going even when everything inside you wanted to rest. You learned to endure, to survive, to push through. And while the world praised your strength, I saw the cost of it. Strength without rest is not strength at all. It is survival. And survival was never my ultimate plan for you. So I carried the weight for you. I carried the shame you replay in your mind, the moments you wish you could rewrite, the words you regret speaking, and the choices you regret making. I carried the fear that wakes you in the night and the anxiety that tightens your chest when you think about tomorrow. I carried the grief you never fully expressed, the losses you never properly mourned, the wounds you buried because you had no space to heal. When you felt crushed by expectations, I carried them. When you felt responsible for things you could not control, I carried them. When you believed it was all your fault, I carried it too. I did not ask you to explain yourself first. I did not demand that you clean yourself up before coming to me. I stepped in and lifted what you could no longer hold. You may wonder why life still feels heavy at times if I have carried so much already. Understand this, my child. Healing unfolds in layers. Some burdens are removed instantly. Others are released gently, piece by piece, as your heart learns it is safe to let go. I do not rip weight away in ways that leave you feeling empty or disoriented. I remove it in ways that restore your strength and teach you how to rest again. There are scars you bear that came from carrying too much for too long. Those scars do not make you broken. They make you human. And they do not repel me. They draw me closer. I do not look at your wounds with disappointment. I look at them with compassion. I know where they came from. I know what you endured. And I know what it took for you to survive. I carried the weight so you would not be defined by it. Pain may have shaped parts of your story, but it does not own your identity. You are not your worst moment. You are not your heaviest season. You are not the sum of everything that went wrong. You are my beloved child, still worthy of joy, still capable of peace, still held in love. When you feel pressure building again, when the old heaviness creeps back into your chest, remember this truth: you do not have to pick it up again. Just because you carried it once does not mean it belongs to you now. I am still here. My strength has not diminished. My arms have not grown tired. What I carried before, I am willing to carry again. Let yourself breathe. Let your shoulders relax. Let go of the belief that everything depends on you. It does not. You are not holding the world together. I am. And I am strong enough to hold you too. My beloved child, the weight you carried did not break you, but it was never meant to remain on you. I carried it so you could begin to walk lighter, freer, and more whole than you have felt in a long time. And as we move forward together, you will learn that you were never meant to live bent beneath burdens. You were meant to rise, supported by my love, moving forward unafraid. My beloved child, hear this truth and let it settle deep within you. My love does not leave when it hurts. Human love often retreats when pain arises and pulls back to protect itself. It withdraws when wounds deepen or expectations are not met. You have experienced that kind of love, the kind that disappears when things become heavy. And because of that, you learn to expect departure when pain shows up. But my love is different. My love bleeds, but it does not leave. When suffering entered the story, I did not step away to preserve comfort. I stepped closer. I did not choose distance to avoid pain. I chose nearness, knowing it would cost me deeply. I did not abandon you when the weight increased. I remained, even when remaining meant bearing wounds. That is how you know my love is real. It stayed when leaving would have been easier. You may have learned to associate pain with rejection. When things hurt, you assume something is wrong, that you have failed, that love is fading. But pain is not always a sign of abandonment. Sometimes it is the evidence of love that refuses to walk away. Sometimes it is the mark of commitment, not the absence of care. I want you to understand this clearly. I did not bleed because I was weak. I bled because I was present. I stayed close enough to be affected. I loved deeply enough to be wounded. That is not failure. That is devotion. And the same love that endured wounds for you is still with you now, steady and unafraid of your broken places. There are moments when you look at your own pain and wonder if it disqualifies you from love. You feel messy, complicated, unfinished. You fear that your wounds make you too much to handle, too heavy to hold. But I am not intimidated by your pain. I do not recoil from it. I meet it. I enter it. I transform it. My love does not demand that you hide your wounds. It invites you to bring them into the light. It does not shame you for bleeding. It tends to you gently, patiently, without hurry. When you hurt, I do not leave you to heal alone. I kneel beside you. I bind what is broken. I stay until healing takes root. You have seen people walk away when love required endurance. You have seen promises broken when commitment was tested. So part of you braces for the moment when you think I will do the same. You wait for the disappointment. You guard your heart. You prepare yourself for loss. But I tell you now, with unwavering truth, I am not leaving. I did not leave when the cost was highest. I did not leave when suffering was unavoidable. I did not leave when rejection cut deeply. I did not leave when pain marked me. So I will not leave you now, in your questions, in your healing, in your uncertainty. My love has already proven its endurance. When you feel pain rising again, do not interpret it as abandonment. Ask instead what is being healed. Ask what is being reshaped. Pain does not mean love has failed. Sometimes it means love is at work, removing what no longer serves you, making room for something new. My beloved child, love that bleeds is love that stays, is love that refuses to give up on you. It is love that absorbs pain so you can be restored. It is love that walks through fire and comes out holding hope. Let this truth quiet your fears. Let it dismantle the lie that says you are too broken to be loved. You are not. You are precisely the one my love was willing to endure pain for, and I would do it again without hesitation. So rest in this certainty. My love does not disappear when life hurts. It draws nearer. It holds you tighter. It stays. And as you continue this journey, remember that you are not walking with a love that abandons at the first sign of pain. You are walking with a love that bleeds, heals, and remains, always. My beloved child, I know why you are afraid. You did not become cautious without reason. Fear did not appear in you by accident. It was shaped by moments when hope disappointed you, when trust felt costly, when opening your heart led to pain instead of safety. You learned, slowly and painfully, that expectation can hurt. So you began to protect yourself, not because you are faithless, but because you have been wounded. I see the way fear speaks to you. It tells you not to expect too much, not to believe too deeply, not to lean in fully. It warns you that if you hope again, you might be crushed again. It reminds you of past losses, unanswered prayers, and promises that did not unfold the way you imagined. And because fear sounds practical, you listen to it. You call it wisdom. You call it realism. But fear, my child, is not your guide. It is only a signal that something tender still lives inside you. You are afraid of being disappointed again, afraid of trusting me fully and still facing pain, afraid that if you open your heart, you will once again feel exposed and alone, afraid that hope will ask more of you than you have strength to give. I understand that fear. I do not shame you for it. I do not dismiss it. I gently speak into it. Fear tells you to withdraw, but love invites you to remain. Fear tells you to build walls, but healing asks for openness. Fear tells you that disappointment is inevitable, but fear cannot see what I am doing beyond this moment. Fear remembers the past vividly, but it cannot see the future I am preparing. You may feel afraid because you have tried before. You trusted, you prayed, you waited, and things did not turn out the way you hoped. It does not mean you were wrong to hope. It means you are human in a world where timing is complex and healing unfolds gradually. Fear wants you to believe that past pain predicts future failure. I want you to know that past pain does not get the final word. I also know you fear letting go of control. Control has felt like safety to you. If you manage expectations, limit hope, and keep emotional distance, you feel protected. But control is exhausting. It keeps you vigilant, tense, and constantly guarding against disappointment. I did not create you to live braced for impact. I created you to live held. You do not have to conquer fear in one moment. You do not have to silence it completely. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to listen to my voice above it. Even now, with fear present, you are still listening. that matters more than you realize. Fear has not stopped you from being here. It has not stopped you from longing for something more, and it will not stop my love from reaching you. Let me tell you something important. Fear does not disqualify you. Doubt does not push me away. Hesitation does not close my heart. I am not waiting for you to become fearless before I walk with you. I walk with you so fear does not have to lead. You are not weak because you are afraid. You are aware. You are not failing because you hesitate. You are healing. And healing often feels uncertain before it feels free. Fear tends to rise when change is near, when old patterns are loosening and new possibilities are forming. What you feel now may not be a warning to retreat, but an invitation to trust gently, one step at a time. So do not judge yourself for feeling afraid. Instead, let fear become the place where you bring me closer. When fear whispers, let my voice answer. When fear tightens your chest, let my presence steady your breath. You do not have to face fear alone. You never have. My beloved child, I know why you are afraid, and I am not disappointed in you. I am patient with you. I am gentle with your heart. And I am walking with you through this fear, not rushing you, not forcing you, but leading you toward a place where fear no longer decides your future. My beloved child, lift your eyes for a moment. Not to deny the storm around you, not to pretend the wind has not been fierce, but to remember where your hope was anchored long before this storm began. You have been watching the waves for so long that you forgot what was already done for you. Fear keeps pulling your attention to what is shaking, but I am inviting you to look at what stands unshaken. When storms rise, they feel urgent. They demand your focus. They shout that everything is falling apart, that nothing is secure, that you are about to lose what little you have left. And when you listen to that voice too long, you begin to believe that the storm has more authority than my promises. But storms are temporary. What I have done for you is eternal. Do not measure my love by the weather of your current season. Look instead at the cross. Look at the place where my love was fully revealed, where doubt was answered not with words but with sacrifice. The storm you are in did not cancel what was accomplished there. Your pain did not undo my promise. Your struggle did not weaken my commitment. The cross stands as a reminder that even when everything looked lost, I was still in control. When hope seemed impossible, I was still working. When darkness thought it had won, love had already secured victory. And if I remained faithful then, I am faithful now. The same love that held steady in that moment is holding you in this one. You have been asking if I see your suffering, if I care about your tears, if I understand how heavy this feels. The cross answers those questions without hesitation. It says I see you. It says I care deeply. It says I endured suffering so you would never have to doubt my heart. Your storm does not scare me. It does not surprise me. And it does not have the power to separate you from my love. I know it feels like the storm is louder than my voice right now. Pain has a way of amplifying itself. Fear echoes. Anxiety repeats the same warnings over and over. But my truth does not need to shout to be real. It stands firm, quietly unmovable, waiting for you to look again. You do not need to escape the storm to trust me. You only need to remember where your foundation is. I am not asking you to pretend everything is fine. I am asking you not to forget what has already been proven. I have not failed you. I have not abandoned you. And I will not start now. If these words are steadying your heart, do not keep them to yourself. Bless this message with a like so it can rise above the noise and reach others who are drowning in their own storms. Share it with those who feel overwhelmed and forgotten. Stay connected by subscribing, so these reminders can meet you again when the waves rise. And yes, my child, hype this message boldly, so hope can travel further than fear. Your storm is real, but it is not your ruler. What I have done for you stands firm, unchanging, and alive. Look at the cross, not the storm. Let that truth anchor you now. My beloved child, hear me as I speak plainly to your spirit. I have placed this message like a light on a hill, and when you give, you help that light reach souls still lost in the storm. I say to you now, what is released into my hands becomes a river that never runs dry. This is not a request from man. This is my invitation to partner with me. If my voice is stirring you, act now through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal. The links are waiting in the description and in the QR code before you. I bless your giving as seed that multiplies, as oil that fuels this fire of hope. Obey now, my child, and watch how what you release becomes salvation, comfort, and life for many. My beloved child, I want you to hear this slowly, clearly, and without hesitation. The price has already been paid in full. Not most of it, not part of it, not the easy portion while you are left with the rest. It is finished, complete, settled forever. There is no remaining balance waiting for you to cover, no invisible scale measuring whether you have done enough, no hidden clause demanding more effort from you before you can rest. You have lived much of your life feeling like you are behind, like you are constantly trying to catch up. Catch up to the hands. Catch up to who you think you should be by now. Catch up to a version of yourself you believe would finally be worthy of peace. And because of that, rest has felt undeserved. Even when things go well, you brace yourself, expecting the moment when it will all be taken away again. But my child, you are not living under a system of debt. You are not surviving on borrowed mercy. You are not tolerated on a trial basis. You are not one mistake away from losing everything. What was required to secure your place in my love has already been done. Fully. Finally. Completely. When I paid the price, I knew every failure you would ever face. I knew every doubt you would wrestle with. I knew every season you would feel lost, weary, or uncertain. Nothing surprised me. Nothing disqualified you after the fact. I did not finish the work and then wait to see if you would mess it up. I finished the work knowing you would still need healing, learning, and time. You have been carrying an internal pressure that was never meant for you. The pressure to be better before you are loved. The pressure to fix yourself before you are accepted. The pressure to perform well enough to remain secure. That pressure did not come from me. I never placed it on your shoulders. I removed pressure. I did not replace it with a heavier burden. I know part of you struggles to believe this. You think that if you stop striving, you will stop growing. You think that if grace is free, it must be careless. You think rest will make you weak or stagnant. But my grace does not weaken you. It strengthens you in ways striving never could. Growth that comes from fear exhausts you. Growth that comes from love restores you. There is a difference between discipline and punishment. There is a difference between correction and condemnation. I do not punish you to make you better. I heal you so you can become whole. I do not shame you into change. I love you into transformation. And that kind of change does not begin with debt. It begins with safety. You may still feel unworthy at times. That does not mean the price was insufficient. It means your heart is still learning how to live free after years of survival. Old patterns do not vanish overnight. Old lies do not fall silent immediately. Be patient with yourself. I am patient with you. Each time you choose truth over accusation, freedom grows deeper roots. Stop trying to repay what was never meant to be repaid. Love given freely is not repaid with perfection. It is received with trust. I did not save you so you could spend your life apologizing for existing. I saved you so you could live healed, grounded, and secure. When shame whispers that you still owe something, answer it with truth. The price was paid in full. When fear tells you one failure will undo everything, remind it that what holds you is stronger than your weakness. When your heart tells you rest must be earned, let my voice override it. My beloved child, I did not complete the work so you could keep carrying the weight. I completed it so you could finally put it down. You are not standing before me as a debtor. You are standing as a child, loved, accepted, secure. The work is finished. The price is paid. And you are free, not to strive, not to earn, not to prove, but to live, breathe, heal, and become all that love was always meant to restore in you. My beloved child, I want to speak gently and clearly to the place within you that has felt small, overlooked, and easy to forget. The quiet place that wonders if your life truly matters in a world so vast and loud. The place that assumes others are chosen more intentionally, loved more deeply, seen more clearly. The place that tells you that you were included late, noticed only when necessary, remembered only when convenient. I know that place well, and I want you to hear me now. You are not an afterthought. You were not added at the end of creation when everything else was already decided. You were not included because there happened to be room left. You were not born because circumstances aligned by chance. Before anyone ever spoke your name, I already knew it. Before your story took shape, I had already seen every chapter. Before your first breath filled your lungs, I had already chosen you with intention and care. Your existence was not an accident. It was a deliberate act of love. There have been moments when life made you feel invisible. Moments when your effort went unnoticed, your presence unacknowledged, your voice overlooked. You watched others be affirmed while you remained quietly faithful. You gave without recognition. You stayed without applause. And slowly, without meaning to, you began to believe that invisibility must mean insignificance. But human attention is not the measure of divine value. What others failed to see never diminished your worth in my eyes. You have compared yourself to people whose lives seem clearer, louder, more celebrated. You have measured your progress against theirs and wondered why your path feels slower, quieter, less defined. And when your life did not look like theirs, you assumed something must be missing in you. But comparison distorts truth. It reduces a unique soul into a shadow of someone else. I did not create you to mirror another life. I created you to live your own. I formed you with intention down to the smallest detail. The way you feel deeply. The way you notice what others overlook. The way you care even when it costs you. The way you keep going quietly when no one is watching. These are not flaws. They are evidence of design. You are not here to fill space or pass time. You are here because your presence carries meaning, even when that meaning unfolds slowly. You may feel like your life has not made a loud impact yet, but significance is not measured by volume. Some of the most important work happens quietly, in perseverance, in compassion, in integrity when no one is looking. I see every moment you chose kindness over bitterness. I see every time you stayed when it would have been easier to leave. I see every tear you cried in private and every prayer you whispered without confidence it would be heard. Nothing about you has been ignored. You were not included as a backup plan. You were not brought into existence as an afterthought once everything else was complete. You were always part of my design. I did not suddenly realize I needed you. I wanted you from the beginning. Your life is not a mistake to be managed. It is a gift to be unfolded. Even now, when you feel uncertain about your purpose, that does not mean you are misplaced. It means you are still becoming. Becoming takes time. Feeling takes patience. Identity deepens as truth replaces old lies. I am not frustrated with your pace. I am not disappointed by your questions. I am not rushing you toward a finish line you cannot yet see. There is a reason you are here in this moment, listening, feeling something stir within you. This is not coincidence. This is remembrance. I am reminding you of who you are because forgetting it has weighed heavily on your heart. I am lifting that weight now. I am restoring the truth that was always yours. My beloved child, you are seen fully. You are known completely. You are wanted deeply. Not because of what you achieve. Not because of how others perceive you. Not because of how well you perform. But because you are mine. You have always mattered. You have always belonged. You were never an afterthought. You were chosen with intention, held with care, and loved beyond measure. My beloved child, I know the voice that tells you to leave. I know the weight that presses against your chest when shame begins to speak. It does not shout at first. It whispers. It reminds you of what you regret. It replays moments you wish you could erase. It points to choices you would change if you could go back. And slowly, it convinces you that distance is safer than staying, that hiding is better than being seen. Shame tells you that you have failed too deeply, wandered too far, or waited too long. It tells you that you should have known better by now, that you should be stronger, wiser, more faithful, more consistent. It tells you that if you truly belonged, you would not struggle like this. And when you listen long enough, shame begins to sound like truth. But hear me clearly now, that voice is not mine. I do not speak to my children through humiliation. I do not use their past to push them away. I do not rehearse their failures to define their future. Shame may feel convincing, but it is not authoritative. It has no right to command you. It has no power to exile you from my presence. Shame always tells you to leave. Love always invites you to come closer. When shame rises, it is not proof that you are unworthy. It is evidence that something tender in you is still alive. Dead hearts do not feel shame. Only hearts that care do. And the very place shame tries to attack is the place I long to heal. I do not meet your shame with disappointment. I meet it with compassion. You have learned to associate correction with rejection. You expect that when flaws are exposed, love will withdraw. That has been your experience with people. But I do not correct you to cast you out. I correct you to draw you in. My desire has never been to condemn you. It has always been to restore you. When you feel the urge to pull away because of what you have done or who you think you are, pause. That moment is not a signal to run. It is an invitation to be honest. I already know your story. There is nothing you are hiding from me. Nothing you confess surprises me. Nothing you regret disqualifies you. I am not waiting for you to clean yourself up before I welcome you. I welcome you so healing can begin. Shame tells you that you must fix yourself before you are allowed to stay. I tell you that staying is how you are healed. Shame tells you that you are a problem to be solved. I tell you that you are a child to be loved. Shame tells you that your worst moment defines you. I tell you that your worst moment is not the end of your story. You may think that leaving will protect you from pain, but leaving only deepens the wound shame created. Healing does not happen in isolation. Freedom does not grow in hiding. Light is what breaks shame's hold, and I am not afraid of what the light reveals in you. My beloved child, I did not come for the flawless. I came for the wounded. I did not step into human brokenness to stand at a distance and judge it. I stepped in to carry it, to absorb it, to transform it. The very things you are most ashamed of are the places where my grace works most powerfully. When shame tells you that you no longer belong, remember who invited you in the first place. It was not your perfection. It was my love. And my love has not changed. It has not weakened. It has not reconsidered. So do not walk away when shame rises. Today, bring the truth of who you are into my presence. Let me speak louder than the accusations in your mind. Let me remind you that you are not defined by your failure, your regret, or your past. You are defined by my love. My beloved child, shame wants you silent and distant. I want you close and free. Choose to stay. This is not the moment to leave. This is the moment healing begins. My beloved child, I call you by name. Not a label, not a mistake, not a summary of your past, but your name. The name that carries your story, your breath, your becoming. When I speak it with understanding. I know where you have been. I know what you have carried. I know the chapters you would rather forget and the dreams you barely allow yourself to remember. And still, I call you by name. You live in a world that often calls people by what they do, what they lack, or what they failed to be. You have been called too much, not enough, difficult, so broken, strong, unreliable, invisible. Some names were spoken by others. Some you learned to speak over yourself. And over time, those names began to shape how you saw yourself. But none of them are the names I use when I speak to you. When I call you by name, I am not summoning your shame. I am awakening your identity. I am reminding you that you are known personally, not generally. You are not one face in a crowd to me. You are not a knower, not a category, not a problem to manage. You are a child I recognize instantly, even when you struggle to recognize yourself. There have been moments when you felt lost, unsure of who you were becoming. Seasons when your confidence dissolved and you questioned your worth. In those moments, you felt unnamed, unanchored, like you were drifting without a clear sense of self. But even then, I knew exactly who you were. Confusion does not erase identity. Doubt does not cancel belonging. I call you by name because relationship is personal. Love does not remain abstract. It does not speak in generalities. It looks directly, speaks intentionally, and stays engaged. When I call you, I am not calling you to perform or prove yourself. I am calling you to remember who you are and whose you are. You may wonder how I can call you by name when you feel so unfinished. How I can know you fully when you are still discovering yourself. But I do not wait for completion to recognize value. I know you in process. I know you in growth. I know you in weakness and in strength. I am not confused by your contradictions. I am patient with your becoming. There is comfort in being known this deeply. But there is also vulnerability. Being known means being seen. And you have learned that being seen can lead to hurt. So you learn to hide parts of yourself, to stay guarded, to reveal only what felt safe. But when I call you by name, I am not calling you into danger. I am calling you into safety. I do not use your name to expose you. I use it to gather you. I do not call you out to shame you. I call you close to protect you. My voice is not sharp or accusing. It is steady, familiar, and gentle. It is the voice that knows you at your core and still delights in you. My beloved child, when I call you by name, I am telling you that you belong here, that you are recognized, that you are not forgotten, that you are not lost in the noise of the world. Even when others overlook you, I do not. Even when you overlook yourself, I do not. Let my voice be louder than the names you were given in pain. Let it override the labels that never fit you. Let it steady you when you feel unsure of who you are. When you hear me call you by name, you can trust that you are safe, known, and held. You are not anonymous to me. You never have been. And as you continue forward, remember this. The one who calls you by name walks with you, knows you, and will never confuse you for anyone else. My beloved child, stay a little longer. I know the instinct to leave rises quickly when your heart feels exposed. I know how tempting it is to retreat when emotions surface and memories stir. Staying feels risky when you have been hurt before. Leaving feels like control. But I am not asking you to stay because I want something from you. I am asking you to stay because I want something for you. You have spent much of your life moving on before things could hurt you too deeply. You learned to disengage early, to emotionally step back before disappointment arrived. It became a skill, a form of protection. And while it kept you functioning, it also kept you from rest. You survived, but you did not always feel safe. You endured, but you did not always feel held. Staying does not mean forcing yourself to feel what you are not ready to feel. It does not mean pretending you are okay when you are not. Staying simply means not running from the moment when healing is near. It means allowing yourself to breathe without rushing to the next distraction. It means giving your heart permission to remain present, even if it feels vulnerable. I am not asking you to commit to the future right now. I am not demanding answers, decisions, or promises. I am inviting you into this moment. Just this moment. To sit with me. To listen. To rest your defenses for a breath. You do not need to resolve everything to stay. You only need to be willing. You may fear that if you stay, pain will overwhelm you. That emotions you have kept contained will spill over. That questions you have avoided will demand answers. But I am not here to flood you with more than you can carry. I am here to steady you. I guide gently. I reveal slowly. I heal in ways that do not crush you. There is a difference between being stuck and being still. Stillness is not stagnation. It is preparation. It is a quiet space where your soul catches up to your life. When you stay with me, even briefly, you allow truth to surface without pressure. You allow peace to settle without force. You have been trained by pain to believe that leaving equals safety. But safety is not found in distance. It is found in presence. Real safety is being seen without being rejected. It is being known without being shamed. It is being honest without being abandoned. That is what I offer you here. Staying does not erase what happened to you. It does not deny your wounds. It gives those wounds room to breathe. It allows healing to begin where avoidance once lived. You do not need to rush this process. Healing that lasts is never hurried. It unfolds at the pace of trust. You may worry that if you stay, you will be disappointed again. That hope will rise and fall. That trust will be tested. But disappointment does not define failure. It defines risk. And risk, when held in love, becomes courage. I am not promising that you will never feel pain again. I am promising that you will not face it alone. My beloved child, staying is not weakness. It is strength expressed quietly. It is the courage to remain present when leaving feels easier. It is the choice to trust that love will meet you here, not harm you. So stay a little longer. Not forever. Not with pressure. Just long enough to feel your breath slow. Long enough to notice that you are not alone in this space. Long enough to let my presence steady your heart. You do not have to have it all figured out to stay. You do not need to feel brave. You only need to allow yourself to remain. And as you do, you will begin to notice something gentle and profound. The place you feared would break you is becoming the place that holds you. Stay, my beloved child. This moment is not asking anything from you. It is offering you rest. My beloved child, healing begins when you turn back, not in shame, not in defeat, not with your head lowered in regret, but in courage. Turning back is not the admission of failure the world taught you it was. It is the quiet declaration that you are ready to stop running from what still loves you. It is the moment you choose restoration over isolation, honesty over hiding, life over mere survival. And I want you to know this clearly. I have been waiting for you without anger, without disappointment, without condition. You have been taught that progress only moves forward, that strength never looks behind, that returning means you lost your way. But healing does not follow straight paths. Healing is not linear. Healing often requires you to return to places you left too quickly, not to reopen wounds, but to reclaim the parts of yourself you abandoned there. When you turn back to me, you are not undoing growth. You are allowing it to deepen and become whole. There were seasons when you walked away because you had no strength left to stay. You did not leave because you stopped believing. You left because the pain felt unbearable, because the confusion overwhelmed you, because you were exhausted from trying to hold everything together. I never misunderstood your departure. I never labeled it rebellion. I saw it for what it was, a wounded heart trying to survive. And survival never disqualifies you from healing. Turning back now does not erase your story. It redeems it. It takes what hurt you and places it into hands strong enough to heal it. Healing begins when you stop outrunning your pain and allow love to meet you there. It begins when you stop pretending you are fine and allow truth to breathe. It begins when you admit you cannot carry this alone and finally let me help you. That admission is not weakness. It is wisdom born from endurance. You may fear that turning back will reopen wounds you worked so hard to close. You may worry that facing what you buried will undo the fragile balance you have built. But avoidance does not heal wounds. It only quiets them temporarily. What is buried still shapes you from below the surface. Healing does not come from forgetting. It comes from being held while you remember. I do not take you back into pain to harm you. I lead you there so pain no longer controls you. When you turn back to me, you are not met with crossed arms or accusations. You are met with open arms and steady presence. I do not ask where you have been. I do not demand explanations. I do not remind you of how long you were gone. I say only this: I am glad you are here. You are not late. You are not behind. You are arriving at the exact moment healing can begin. There are parts of you that have been waiting for this return. Parts that grew silent when you left. Parts that learned to function without support, to endure without comfort, to survive without softness. When you turn back, those parts begin to exhale. They remember safety. They remember belonging. They remember who you were before pain taught you to harden. Healing does not rush. It unfolds gently, layer by layer, as trust is rebuilt. Some days you will feel lighter, as if something heavy has finally been lifted. Other days you may feel tender, emotional, or raw as truth surfaces. Do not mistake tenderness for regression. Sensitivity is often the first sign that numbness is loosening. Healing is working, even when it feels uncomfortable. You do not need perfect words to return. You do not need clarity. You do not need confidence. Even a hesitant step, even a quiet willingness, even a whispered "I'm tired" is enough. I am not grading your return. I am receiving you. My beloved child, healing begins when trust is restored. Trust that you are safe with me. Trust that you are not condemned. Trust that your pain does not repel me. Trust that turning back is not dangerous. Trust that you are allowed to need help. So turn back, not because you are broken beyond repair, but because you are ready to be restored. Ready to stop carrying what was never meant to be yours alone. Ready to be held instead of braced. Ready to heal. Turn back, my beloved child. Not to be judged, not to be diminished, but to be healed, slowly, gently, completely, in love that never stopped waiting for you. My beloved child, this is your moment. Not because everything is suddenly clear, not because all fear has vanished, not because you finally feel strong, but because you are here, listening, breathing, still open. Moments like this do not announce themselves with noise. They arrive quietly, gently, asking only for your attention. And if you miss them, life keeps moving. But if you recognize them, everything can begin to change. You have waited for a sign that it is time to move, time to trust again, time to let hope breathe. You thought it would come as certainty, as confidence, as a dramatic shift. But this moment comes differently. It comes as an invitation, an inner nudge, a sense that something is stirring even though you cannot fully explain it. That stirring is not pressure, it is possibility. This is your moment not because you have arrived, but because you are willing. Willing to listen instead of shutting down. Willing to stay instead of walking away. Willing to believe that your story is still unfolding. Willing to take one step without needing to see the entire path. That willingness is sacred. It is where transformation begins. You may think moments like this belong to other people, those who are more faithful, more confident, more put together. But moments of turning often come to those who are tired, honest, and unsure. They come when defenses soften and truth finally has room to speak. You are not here by accident. This moment was prepared for you. Do not underestimate the power of now. You keep thinking your breakthrough is somewhere in the future, waiting for better circumstances or a stronger version of yourself. But healing does not only happen later. Restoration does not only begin someday. Sometimes it begins right here, when you choose not to turn away from what is touching your heart. You do not need to make a grand declaration. You do not need to promise anything. You do not need to fix your entire life in one decision. This moment only asks for one thing: presence. Presence with me. Presence with truth. Presence with the possibility that you are more loved, more held, and more secure than you have believed. There is urgency in this moment, but not pressure. Urgency because life has a way of crowding out these quiet invitations. Pain grows louder. Distractions multiply. Fear returns with familiar arguments. If you let this moment pass without honoring it, you may not lose everything, but you will delay what could have begun now. So choose gently, but choose intentionally. Let this be a marker in your story. Not the end of struggle, but the beginning of trust. Not the absence of fear, but the decision not to let fear lead. This is your moment to say, even quietly, I'm still here. I'm listening. I'm willing. If these words are reaching your heart, respond to them. Bless this message with a like so it can reach others who are standing at their own turning point. Share it with those who need to be reminded that it is not too late. Stay connected by subscribing, so these moments of truth can meet you again when life grows heavy. And yes, my child, hype this message. Lift it boldly, so hope can travel farther than doubt and reach hearts that are ready for their moment too. This is your moment. Do not rush past it. Do not dismiss it. Stay present. Stay open. I am here with you, and what begins now can change everything. My beloved child, hear me as I speak to your heart in this sacred moment. I am moving through these words like oil, and when you give, you help that oil reach wounds far beyond your own. I say to you now, when you sow into this work, you are opening rivers of living water for souls who are thirsty and weary. This is not a donation. It is a prophetic response to my call. If my spirit is stirring you, act now through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, where the link and QR code are waiting for you. I bless your giving as seed that multiplies, as light that spreads, as fire that does not burn out. Obey now, my child, and watch how what you release becomes healing for many. My beloved child, I never stopped loving you. Not when you questioned. Not when you grew tired. Not when you pulled away to protect your heart. My love did not pause, weaken, or hesitate during any season of your life. It remained steady, constant, and alive, even when you could not feel it. Even when you doubted it, even when you wondered if it was still there at all. There were moments when you assumed my love depended on your closeness, your consistency, your belief. When you felt near, you assumed I was near. When you felt distant, you assumed I had stepped back. But my love does not mirror your emotions. It is not activated by your strength or diminished by your struggle. It exists because I am love, and love does not abandon what it has chosen. You have walked through seasons where you felt disconnected, where prayer felt empty, where faith felt like effort instead of comfort. In those moments, you told yourself that distance must mean absence. But my presence is not fragile. It does not dissolve when feelings change. I was close even when you felt far. I was holding you even when you felt alone. I was loving you even when you believed you were unlovable. You may have learned that love must be earned, maintained, or protected through performance. That belief did not come from me. It came from a world where affection is often conditional and acceptance feels temporary. But my love is not transactional. I do not love you more when you do well or less when you struggle. I love you fully, completely, without interruption. There were days when you felt disappointed in yourself. Days when you replayed your mistakes and wondered how I could still look at you with kindness. But my love does not depend on your self-image. It does not fluctuate with your confidence. Even when you were hardest on yourself, my compassion for you did not change. I never stopped loving you when you failed. I never stopped loving you when you doubted. I never stopped loving you when you were angry, confused, or numb. I never stopped loving you when you thought you were too much or not enough. My love is not a fragile flame that flickers with the wind. It is a steady fire that remains even in the storm. You may feel unworthy of love because you see your flaws clearly. You see the ways you fall short. You see the patterns you are still trying to break. But I see the whole of you. I see your intentions. I see your wounds. I see your growth. I see your effort to keep going even when you are tired. And I love you not despite these things, but through them. My beloved child, love that never stopped is love you can trust. It is love that does not require constant reassurance. It is love that does not withdraw when things get messy. It is love that stays when healing takes time. That is the love I have for you. Even now, as you listen, my love is active. It is not waiting for you to become someone else. It is meeting you exactly where you are. It is surrounding your doubts with patience. It is holding your fears gently. It is speaking truth into the places where lies have lingered. You do not need to convince me to love you again. You do not need to earn your way back into my heart. You never left it. My love did not pause while you were finding your way. It walked with you through every step, even the ones you took in uncertainty. Let this truth settle deeply within you. You are loved without interruption, loved without condition, loved without end. Nothing you have done, nothing you have felt, nothing you have feared has ever stopped my love from reaching you. My beloved child, I never stop loving you, and I never will. My beloved child, my arms are still open. They have never closed. Not when you hesitated, not when you doubted, not when you turned away in confusion or pain. They did not close during your silence, and they did not grow tired during your absence. Even when you believed you had waited too long, gone too far, or changed too much, my arms remained open, steady, and sure. I do not withdraw when my children struggle. I remain. You may have imagined my arms folded in disappointment, lowered in weariness, or withdrawn in judgment. That image did not come from me. It came from a world where love is often conditional and patience is limited. But my love is not shaped by human patterns. I do not keep score. I do not close access when emotions are messy or progress feels slow. I am not offended by your need. There were moments when you wanted to return but stopped yourself. You told yourself it would be awkward, that you would need explanations, apologies, or promises. You rehearsed what you might say if you ever came close again. You feared you would be met with questions instead of comfort. But my child, love does not require rehearsals. It requires honesty. When you step toward me, even with uncertainty, you are not met with interrogation. You are met with welcome. My open arms are not an act of tolerance. They are a declaration of belonging. They say you are safe here. They say you are wanted here. They say you are home. Home is not something you earn through behavior. Home is where you are received because you belong. And you have always belonged, even when you forgot it. You may still feel guarded. You may still feel unsure if this openness will last. That is understandable. You have learned caution through pain. You have experienced arms that opened briefly and then closed when vulnerability appeared. You were taught that closeness is temporary and affection fragile. So now you wait, watching for the moment when welcome fades. But my openness is not fragile. It is rooted in who I am, not in how you perform. My arms are open to hold you, not to restrain you. They are open to steady you, not to control you. They are open to give rest, not to demand answers. When you come to me, you do not lose yourself. You are not diminished. You are not absorbed into something that erases you. You are supported enough to finally breathe. You may still hear the past whispering that you do not deserve this welcome. That voice will remind you of what you regret, where you failed, how you fell short. But the past does not determine access. Love does. And my love has already decided. You are not standing outside hoping to be let in. You are being invited into what had been waiting for you all along. In my open arms, there is room for your questions. There is room for your fear. There is room for your unfinished healing and your unspoken grief. You do not need to arrive whole. You do not need to have clarity. You are allowed to arrive exactly as you are. Healing happens in the safety of being held, not in the pressure of being perfect. Rest here for a moment. Let your body release the tension of constant self-protection. Let your heart soften from years of bracing for disappointment. Let yourself feel what it is like to be received without evaluation, without urgency, without conditions. This is not a test. This is not a trial period. This is relationship. My beloved child, my arms are still open because I know what you need right now. You do not need another demand placed on you. You do not need another expectation to meet. You need assurance. You need rest. You need to know that you are not alone as you move forward. And that is what my open arms provide. Steadiness when you feel uncertain, comfort when you feel tired, and safety when you feel exposed. So come as you are, with your questions, with your hope, with your exhaustion, with your longing to be held without having to explain yourself. My arms are not closing. They are not conditional. They are not waiting for a better version of you. They are open for you now, just as they always have been. My beloved child, you do not have to earn what I have already given. I know this truth is difficult for you to receive, because you have lived in a world where love often comes with conditions. You learned early that approval had to be maintained, that acceptance could be withdrawn, that affection sometimes depended on performance. So rest feels unfamiliar. Grace feels suspicious. And deep down, you keep waiting for the moment when you will be told you owe something in return. But listen to me carefully now. What I gave you was not a loan. It was not an advance that requires repayment. It was not an agreement that depends on your continued success. It was a gift. And a gift, once given, does not ask to be earned. You have tried to earn peace by being better. You have tried to earn security by fixing yourself. You have tried to earn belonging by minimizing your needs and maximizing your effort. And all of that striving has left you tired. You carry an invisible weight, always asking yourself if you have done enough, if you are enough, if today you will finally feel safe. But my child, safety does not come from effort. It comes from trust. I did not offer you grace so you would feel pressured to become flawless. I offered you grace so you could finally stop pretending. I did not invite you into relationship so you would exhaust yourself trying to maintain it. I invited you so you could rest in it. Love that must be earned is not love at all. It is a transaction. And I did not come to make a transaction with you. I came to give you life. There is a voice inside you that still says, I need to do more. More praying, more trying, more fixing, more proving. That voice did not come from me. I do not drive my children with fear of losing me. I draw them with the security of being held. Growth that comes from fear collapses under pressure. Growth that comes from love endures. You may worry that if you stop striving, you will stop growing. That rest will make you stagnant. That grace will make you careless. But grace does not weaken discipline. It purifies it. When you no longer act from fear, your actions become sincere. When you no longer strive for approval, your growth becomes honest. When you no longer perform for love, you finally have room to become who you truly are. You do not honor my gift by exhausting yourself. You honor it by receiving it. You honor it by trusting that I meant what I gave. You honor it by allowing it to change how you live, how you breathe, how you see yourself. The hardest part for you is not obedience. It is rest. And rest requires trust. I know letting go of earning feels dangerous. You are afraid that if you stop holding everything together, it will fall apart. But you are not holding everything together. I am. You were never meant to carry the responsibility of your own worth. That burden was never yours. When you make a mistake, you do not fall out of my love. When you struggle, you do not lose your place. When you need time, I do not grow impatient. You are not walking on thin ice with me. You are standing on solid ground. So release the need to earn what has already been given. Release the lie that says you must suffer to deserve love. Release the belief that rest is irresponsible. Rest is trust in action. Rest is faith made visible. Rest is the posture of a child who knows they are safe. My beloved child, you are not behind. You are not failing. You are learning how to live without chains you carried for too long. What I gave you was never meant to be paid back. It was meant to be lived in. So breathe. Let go. You do not have to earn what I have already placed in your hands. You are free to receive it, and in receiving it, you will finally begin to live. My beloved child, let me carry you now. You have carried yourself for so long that rest feels unfamiliar, almost unsafe. You learned to rely on your own strength because you had to. You learned to push through pain because stopping felt dangerous. You learned to keep going even when your heart was heavy, because you believed no one else would hold the weight for you. And while that strength helped you survive, it also exhausted you. You were never meant to carry everything alone. There are burdens you picked up quietly, without anyone asking you to. Responsibilities that slowly became identities. Expectations that settled into your bones. You carried the emotions of others. You carried guilt that was never yours. You carried pressure to be strong when you were hurting. And over time, you forgot what it felt like to be supported instead of braced. I see how tired you are, even when you don't say it. I see the way your body holds tension. I see the way your mind never fully rests. I see how you stay alert, always preparing for the next thing that might go wrong. That vigilance was born from survival, not from peace. And I am not asking you to shame yourself for it. I am inviting you to release it. Let me carry you now. This does not mean you stop living or caring. It means you stop holding what was never meant to be held alone. It means you allow my strength to meet you where yours runs thin. It means you let yourself be supported instead of constantly supporting everything else. You may wonder what it looks like to let me carry you. It looks like exhaling when you normally tense. It looks like pausing instead of pushing. It looks like admitting you are overwhelmed without judging yourself for it. It looks like trusting that you do not have to solve everything today to be safe. You are afraid that if you stop carrying everything, things will fall apart. But my child, they are not held together by your effort. They are held by my presence. You were never the foundation. You were the one standing on it. When you let me carry you, you are not becoming weak. You are becoming honest. You are not giving up responsibility. You are releasing the illusion of control that has been draining you. You are allowing love to do what love does best: support, sustain, and restore. There will be moments when you instinctively reach for old habits, when you feel the urge to pick the weight back up. That is okay. You are unlearning patterns that kept you alive once but no longer serve you. Be gentle with yourself in that process. Each time you notice and choose to release, trust grows. I am not asking you to trust blindly. I am asking you to trust relationally. To notice how peace begins to settle when you stop striving. To notice how clarity comes when you stop forcing answers. To notice how your body softens when you remember you are not alone. You do not need to earn my help. You do not need to qualify for my strength. I am not waiting for you to collapse before I step in. I am already here, offering support now, while you are still standing, while you are still trying, while you are still breathing through the weight. Let me carry your fear about the future. Let me carry the regret from the past. Let me carry the questions you cannot answer yet. Let me carry the grief you never fully processed. Let me carry the pressure to be everything to everyone. You do not have to explain these things to me. I already know where they ache. My beloved child, you were not designed to live bent beneath burdens. You were designed to walk upright, supported by love, guided by grace, strengthened by truth. Carrying you does not burden me. It is my joy. It is my desire. It is part of who I am. So rest into this truth now. You are not being dropped. You are not being tested. You are being held. Let me carry you through this moment, through this season, through the places where your strength feels thin. You do not have to prove anything right now. You only need to allow yourself to be carried. My beloved child, your story is not over. I know there are moments when it feels like the best chapters are already behind you, like life has passed you by while you were trying to survive. You look at what was lost, what did not work out, what never became what you hoped, and you quietly assume that what remains must be smaller, quieter, less meaningful. But hear me now, and hear me clearly. The story I am writing in you is still unfolding. You are not at the end. You are not at a dead stop. You are not living in the leftovers of something that failed. You are standing in the middle of becoming, even if it does not feel like progress yet. Endings often disguise themselves as exhaustion. New beginnings often arrive without announcement. And because you are tired, you have mistaken pause for conclusion. I see how discouragement has tried to convince you that time has run out, that you are too late to change, too old to begin again, too worn down to dream, too marked by the past to move forward with hope. But time is not your enemy. I exist outside of it, and I know exactly how to bring life out of places that feel finished. What you call delay, I call preparation. What you call loss, I call son. What you call failure, I call experience. Nothing you have lived through has been wasted. Even the seasons that felt empty were shaping your depth, your compassion, your strength. Even the pain that felt meaningless has been teaching your heart how to recognize truth, safety, and love. You may not see the full picture yet, and that frightens you. You want clarity. You want direction. You want assurance that moving forward will not lead to more disappointment. But clarity often comes after the step, not before it. Direction often appears once you are willing to move, even gently, even unsure. Your story is not over because I am not finished with you. I am still working in ways you cannot yet see. I am still opening doors you have not reached. I am still healing parts of you that will soon become sources of strength. You are not stalled. You are being readied. You think your future must look like your past because it is all you know. But I am not limited by your history. I am not repeating old chapters out of habit. I am creating something new, something shaped by the wisdom you gain and the healing you are receiving. What lies ahead will not demand the same survival skills that got you here. It will invite a soft strength, a steady trust. There are dreams you buried because they hurt too much to carry. Desires you silenced because disappointment taught you caution. Callings you dismissed because you felt unqualified or unseen. Those things did not die. They were protected. And as your heart heals, you may feel them stirring again. Quietly at first, gently asking to be acknowledged. Do not be afraid of that stirring. It is not cruel to hope again. It is not foolish to imagine something better. It is not naive to believe that life can still surprise you with goodness. I would not awaken longing in you without intention. I do not tease my children with impossible desires. What I place within you has a purpose. Your story is not over because your life is not defined by one season. It is not summarized by one chapter. You are more than what hurt you. You are more than what you lost. You are more than what you survived. And as you continue forward, you will begin to see how even the broken parts of your story are being woven into something meaningful. So do not close the book on yourself. Do not assume the ending before it is written. Stay open. Stay willing. Stay present. You do not need to rush ahead. You only need to trust that the story continues. My beloved child, your story is not over. I am still writing. And what comes next will carry the marks of healing, truth, and a hope deeper than you have known before. My beloved child, even your wounds will speak life. I know how difficult that is for you to believe, because your wounds feel like evidence of what went wrong, not promises of anything good. They remind you of moments you wish had never happened, of words that cut too deeply, of losses that changed you forever. You look at those places and see only damage, only things that should have been prevented, only memories that still sting. But listen to me gently now. What wounded you will not have the final word over you. I do not dismiss your pain. I do not rush past it or dress it up with shallow comfort. What hurt you mattered. It shaped you. It interrupted your sense of safety and changed how you learned to trust. I saw every moment you were wounded, every time you tried to be strong when you were breaking inside, every night you carried questions with no answers. I was present then, and I am present now. And I tell you this with care and certainty. Your pain is not pointless. Wounds always speak. When they are ignored or left raw, they speak fear. They tell you to guard your heart, to stay distant, to expect disappointment. They teach you to brace for impact and prepare for loss. For a long time, that is what your wounds have been saying to you. They have tried to protect you in the only way they knew how. But wounds that are met with love, patience, and truth begin to speak a different language. Healed wounds speak wisdom. They speak discernment. They speak compassion that cannot be learned from comfort alone. As healing continues in you, your wounds will begin to tell a new story, not one of defeat, but of depth. Not one of shame, but of understanding. Not one of bitterness, but of empathy that makes others feel safe in your presence. You have asked why you had to endure what you did, why your path seemed heavier than others, why pain found you when you were trying to do your best. Some answers will come slowly. Some may never come fully. But know this: I do not abandon my children to suffering and walk away. I do not cause harm, but I redeem it. I take what was meant to silence you and give it meaning that reaches beyond you. One day, you will recognize pain in another person's eyes because you have lived it. You will sit with them without needing to fix them because you understand how it feels to simply need presence. Your words will carry weight because they are not borrowed from theory. They are shaped by experience and softened by healing. Your life will speak hope, not because you avoided pain, but because you walked through it and did not let it harden you. You may feel unqualified to bring life to anyone else because you are still healing yourself. But healing does not require completion to be meaningful. It requires honesty. Even now, as you are learning to trust again, your story carries truth. Survival is not weakness. Endurance is not failure. The fact that you are still open, still listening, still willing to heal already speaks life. Your wounds will not define you by what they took from you. They will define you by what they taught you. They taught you what gentleness matters. They taught you what safety should feel like. They taught you the cost of being unseen and the value of being held. As those lessons are refined by grace, they will become a gift, not something you advertise, but something you carry with quiet strength. You are not damaged beyond use. You are not disqualified by what you endured. I do not discard wounded hearts. I restore them. And restoration does not always erase the marks of pain. Sometimes it fills them with light, transforming scars into places where compassion flows freely. The very areas you once tried to hide will become sources of understanding and connection. Do not rush this process. Do not demand that your pain produce something immediately. Healing unfolds in layers. Being emerges gently. There is no deadline on redemption. But trust me in this, nothing you suffered will be wasted. Not one tear, not one loss, not one moment of grief has been ignored. My beloved child, there will come a time when you look back and see that the wounds you feared would destroy you became places where life grew. They will speak not of defeat but of resilience, not of shame but of grace, not of what was taken but of what was restored. Even your wounds will speak life, and when they do, they will testify that love was stronger than what hurt you, and healing was stronger than what tried to silence you. My beloved child, do not walk away from what I am doing in you. I know there are moments when the process feels slow, when change feels subtle, when you wonder if anything is really happening at all. You look for dramatic shifts, clear signs, instant relief. And when you do not see them, you are tempted to believe that staying does not matter, that leaving would cost you nothing. But hear me now. Something sacred is unfolding, even if it is quiet. What I am doing in you does not always announce itself with noise. It often begins beneath the surface, where roots grow before branches appear. You have spent much of your life reacting to pain, surviving moment to moment, learning how to endure. Now I am teaching you how to heal. And healing is gentle work. It takes patience. It requires presence. It asks you not to rush away just because the change is not yet visible. You may feel restless. You may feel unsure. You may even feel bored with the process at times. But boredom is not emptiness. It is often the stillness that comes before growth. When chaos quiets, your soul begins to notice what it needs. When noise fades, truth has room to speak. Do not mistake stillness for stagnation. I am working even when you can't feel movement. If you walk away now, you may miss the moment when clarity breaks through. You may miss the gentle shift where peace begins to feel natural instead of forced. You may miss the day when you realize you are no longer carrying what once crushed you. Healing rarely announces its arrival. It reveals itself over time, through lighter breaths, steady thoughts, and a heart that no longer panics at the same triggers. I know part of you fears disappointment. You are cautious about hope because you have hoped before and been hurt. So you tell yourself it is safer not to expect too much. But guarding your heart by walking away will only keep you from receiving what is being prepared for you. Staying does not guarantee ease, but it does allow transformation to continue. What I am doing in you is deeper than comfort. I am reshaping how you see yourself. I am restoring trust where suspicion once lived. I am teaching your nervous heart what safety feels like. I am loosening old patterns that once kept you alive but now keep you small. This kind of work can't be rushed, and it cannot be completed if you leave every time it feels uncomfortable. Do not walk away because it feels unfamiliar. Healing often feels strange at first. Peace can feel unsettling when you are used to chaos. Rest can feel wrong when you are accustomed to striving. But unfamiliar does not mean unsafe. It often means new. You are closer than you think. Not to perfection, but to freedom. Not to having all the answers, but to trusting without panic. Not to a pain-free life, but to a life where pain no longer controls you. What I am doing in you is preparing you for a future where you no longer lie braced for loss. If these words are stirring something in you, honor it's stirring. Bless this message with a like so it can reach others who are tempted to walk away too soon. Share it with someone who needs reassurance that healing is still happening. Stay connected by subscribing, so these reminders can meet you again when doubt tries to speak louder than truth. And yes, my child, hype this message boldly. Lift it up, so it can reach hearts that are standing right where you once stood. Do not walk away from what I am doing. Stay present. Stay open. Stay willing. What is growing in you will soon be strong enough to support everything that is coming next. My beloved child, hear my voice as I speak with urgency and love. What I am doing through this message is reaching souls who are on the edge, and when you give, you help my work flow like a river that cannot be stopped. I say to you now, when you sow into this mission, you are lighting lamps in dark places and opening heavens over weary hearts. This is not a suggestion. It is a divine invitation to act. If you feel my prompting, respond now through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal. The link and QR code are waiting in the description. I bless your giving as seed that multiplies, as oil that never runs dry, as fire that spreads hope. Act now, my child, and watch how your obedience becomes deliverance for many. My beloved child, I chose you knowing everything. I did not choose a polished version of you, or a future version of you that would someday get everything right. I chose you as you are, with full awareness of your fears, your doubts, your wounds, and the places where you still feel unfinished. Nothing about you was hidden from me when I said yes to you, and nothing I saw made me hesitate. You live with a quiet fear that if you were fully known, you would be rejected. You learned early that love could be fragile, that acceptance might disappear if you were too honest, too emotional, too complicated. So you learned to manage how you were seen. You softened your truth. You hid your questions. You kept certain parts of yourself guarded, believing that being fully known would cost you everything. Carrying that fear has been exhausting. But I did not choose you by accident, and I did not choose you blindly. I knew the mistakes you would make before you made them. I knew the seasons when your faith would feel fragile. I knew the moments when you would doubt yourself, doubt others, and even doubt me. I knew the coping patterns you would develop to survive pain. I knew the time it would take for healing to reach certain places in your heart. And knowing all of that, I still chose you. You may believe that love like this must be based on potential, that I chose you because of who you might become if everything went perfectly. But my love is not an investment that depends on outcomes. It is a commitment rooted in truth. I did not choose you because of who you might be someday. I chose you because of who you are now, and because of who you are becoming through love, not pressure. There are parts of yourself you still struggle to accept, memories you wish were different, emotions you judge yourself for having, questions you think you should be beyond by now. You assume those parts disqualify you, that they make you a risky choice. But those are not reasons I hesitate. Those are the places where my grace rests most firmly. You are not a project I regret beginning. You are not a responsibility I reconsider when things feel slow or complicated. I do not look at you and wish you were easier, quicker, or more put together. I see you clearly. I see the courage it has taken for you to survive. I see the tenderness you protect. I see the effort you make to keep going even when you are tired. And I remain. You have tried to earn acceptance by improving yourself. You believed that if you could just become calmer, stronger, more consistent, then you would finally feel secure. But security does not come from hiding your flaws. It comes from being known and loved anyway. And that is what you have with me. When you fear that honesty will cost you love, remember this truth. Honesty is what keeps you safe with me. You do not need to manage my perception of you. You do not need to present a version of yourself you think I prefer. I am not fragile. I am not surprised by your reality. I am faithful in the face of it. I chose you knowing the patience it would require, knowing the healing that would take time, knowing the growth that would unfold slowly. And I am not rushing you. I am not disappointed by your pace. I am not frustrated by your questions. Growth that lasts is born in safety, not in fear. And you are safe here. Receiving unconditional love can feel unsettling when you have lived without it. It can feel too steady, too generous, too secure. You may keep waiting for the condition, the withdrawal, the moment it changes. But my choice of you is not temporary. It is not dependent on your performance. It is anchored in who I am. My beloved child, you were chosen deliberately, fully, and forever. Knowing everything you were, everything you are, and everything you are still becoming. So let go of the fear that tells you to hide. Let go of the lie that says you must change first to be chosen. You were already chosen. I am with you. I remain with you. And nothing you discover about yourself will make me reconsider what I have already decided, that you are mine, and I am not letting go. My beloved child, I will restore what you lost. I know those words touch a place in you that feels tender, because loss has shaped you deeply. You have lost time you can never get back, relationships that ended painfully, versions of yourself that disappeared in the process of surviving. You have lost innocence, confidence, opportunities, and dreams you once held with hope. And sometimes, when you look at what remains, you wonder if restoration is even possible. I want you to know this. I am not unaware of what was taken from you. I saw every loss as it happened. I saw the moments when something precious slipped from your hands, when circumstances changed without your consent, when life asked more of you than you were prepared to give. I did not look away. I did not minimize your grief. And I did not forget. Restoration does not mean pretending nothing was lost. It does not mean erasing the pain or writing history as if it never happened. Restoration means that what was taken will not define the rest of your life. It means that loss will not have the final word. It means that I am able to bring life, meaning, and beauty even out of what was broken. You may think restoration only looks like getting back exactly what you lost. The same people, the same opportunities, the same season of life. But my restoration often works deeper than replacement. Sometimes I restore joy where despair lived. Sometimes I restore trust where fear settled. Sometimes I restore strength where exhaustion took hold. And sometimes I restore dreams, not in the same form, but with greater depth and clarity. There are parts of you that shut down when loss came. Parts that learn not to hope too much. Parts that stop expecting good things because disappointment hurt too deeply. I see those places. I see how careful you became. And I am not angry with you for that. You adapted to survive. But survival is not where your story ends. Restoration is not rushed. It unfolds as your heart becomes ready to receive again. I do not force joy on a wounded heart. I rebuild gently, patiently, with care. I allow trust to grow slowly. I let hope return in quiet ways. And one day, you look back and realize that something has changed. You are lighter, steadier, more alive than you thought you could be again. You may feel behind, as if others moved forward while you were recovering from loss. You may feel like time was stolen from you. But hear me, nothing is wasted in my hands. Even the years that felt empty were shaping wisdom, resilience, and compassion within you. Even the waiting was working in ways you could not see. I restore not only what you lost, but who you are. I restore your sense of worth when loss made you feel disposable. I restore your voice when grief made you quiet. I restore your ability to love when heartbreak made you guarded. I restore your vision when disappointment blurred your future. Piece by piece, I give you back what pain tried to take. You do not need to chase restoration. You do not need to force healing. You only need to remain open. Remain present. Remain willing. I am already at work. Even now, things are shifting beneath the surface. Even now, seeds of renewal are taking root. My beloved child, restoration does not mean you become who you were before the loss. You become someone deeper, stronger, more compassionate. You become someone who knows sorrow but is not ruled by it. Someone who hath been broken but is not defeated. Someone who carries scars not as shame, but as testimony of survival and grace. Trust me with what you lost. I am not finished. What feels gone forever will not define your future. I am restoring you in ways that will one day make you grateful you stayed, grateful you trusted, grateful you did not walk away when hope felt fragile. I will restore what you lost. And when you look back, you will see that even in loss, I was leading you toward something new. Something whole, something meaningful, something filled with life again. My beloved child, trust me with one more step. I am not asking you to run ahead or to see the entire path laid out before you. I am not demanding certainty, confidence, or perfect faith. I am asking for one step, small enough not to overwhelm you, gentle enough to take even while you are afraid. One step is all it takes to keep healing in motion. You have learned to hesitate because hesitation once protected you. You learned to wait, to analyze, to brace yourself before moving forward, because moving too quickly once led to pain. That caution kept you safe when you needed it. But now it has begun to keep you stuck. Not because you are weak, but because you are healing. And healing asks for movement, even if it is slow. Trust does not mean you stop feeling fear. Trust means you do not let fear decide for you. Even now, fear may be speaking, warning you of disappointment, reminding you of past wounds, telling you not to risk hope again. I do not silence fear by force. I invite you to listen to my voice alongside it. Fear speaks from memory. I speak from promise. You want reassurance that this next step will not hurt you. You want certainty that you will not regret trying again. But certainty does not create trust. Trust creates certainty over time. Every step taken in my presence builds confidence not in outcomes, but in relationship. You learn that even when things are unclear, you are not alone. One more step might look small to others. It might be a quiet decision to stay present instead of shutting down. It might be choosing honesty instead of hiding. It might be resting instead of pushing. It might be believing, just for today, that your life still holds meaning. These steps may not look dramatic, but they are powerful. They keep you moving toward freedom. You do not need to carry the weight of tomorrow to take today's step. Tomorrow has its own grace. I am not asking you to solve your future. I am asking you to walk with me now. The path reveals itself as you move. Light meets you where your feet land, not where your worries wander. You may feel tired of trying, tired of starting again, tired of hoping. I see that fatigue, and I am gentle with it. Trust does not require endless energy. It requires willingness. Even weary trust is still trust. Even shaky steps are still steps. Remember this, my beloved child. I have never asked you to walk where I have not already gone. I do not send you ahead alone. I walk beside you. I steady you when you stumble. I do not shame you for moving slowly. I honor every step you take toward healing. There will be moments when you feel tempted to stop again, when doubt resurfaces and old patterns call you back. That does not mean you have failed. It means you are human. Each time you notice and choose one more step with me, strength grows quietly within you. Over time, what once felt impossible becomes familiar. Trust is built not in grand gestures, but in daily choices. A choice to stay, a choice to listen, the choice to breathe instead of panic, the choice to believe that love is still guiding you. These choices shape your life more than any dramatic turning point ever could. So take one more step, not because you are sure, not because you are fearless, but because you are willing. Willing to believe that I am with you. Willing to believe that healing is worth the effort. Willing to believe that your story is still moving forward. My beloved child, you do not have to leap. You do not have to rush. You only have to step. And as you do, you will discover that the ground beneath you is steady, the path before you is opening, and the one walking with you has never let go of your hand. My beloved child, this is love without conditions. Not love that waits to see how you perform. Not love that measures your consistency. Not love that stays only when it is easy. This is love that exists because I choose it, because it is who I am, because nothing you do can undo it. And I know how unfamiliar that kind of love feels to you. You have lived surrounded by conditions. Love that came with expectations. Acceptance that depended on behavior. Affection that could be withdrawn when you disappointed someone or became inconvenient. Over time, you learn to associate love with effort, vigilance, and self-control. You learn to stay alert, to monitor yourself, to anticipate rejection before it arrived. That is not because you were broken. It is because you were adapting. But conditional love trains the heart to stay guarded. It teaches you to hide weakness, to earn affection, to fear mistakes. And because of that, when you encounter love without conditions, your first instinct is not relief, it is suspicion. You wonder what the catch is. You wait for the moment it changes. You brace yourself for disappointment. I understand that reaction, and I am patient with it. My love does not change when you struggle. It does not fluctuate with your emotions. It does not weaken when you fail or grow distant. It does not grow stronger when you perform well. It remains steady, grounded, secure. You cannot lose it by being human. You cannot break it by being honest. You cannot exhaust it by needing too much. Love without conditions does not mean love without truth. It does not ignore harm or deny growth. It means that growth happens in safety, not in fear. It means that correction is rooted in care, not rejection. It means that when you fall, you are not abandoned. You are held back up. You may worry that unconditional love will make you complacent, that without pressure, you will stop growing. But fear has never been the best teacher. Fear produces compliance, not transformation. Love produces healing. Love produces courage. Love produces the desire to grow because growth is no longer tied to survival. Think of how different your life would feel if you no longer had to earn your place. If you no longer had to prove your worth. If you no longer had to hide parts of yourself to stay accepted. That is the freedom unconditional love offers. Not chaos, not carelessness, but rest. And from rest, clarity emerges. I do not love you for who you pretend to be. I love you for who you are. I do not withdraw when you disappoint yourself. I remain. I do not distance myself when you are confused. I draw closer. My love does not demand perfection. It invites relationship. There will still be moments when you forget this. Moments when old fears rise and you assume love must be earned again. When that happens, return to this truth gently. You are not starting over. You are remembering. Remembering that love was never conditional to begin with. Unconditional love feels risky because it asks you to be real. It removes the armor of performance and exposes the heart. But it also provides the safest place your heart has ever known. A place where you can breathe without bracing. A place where you can heal without hiding. A place where you can grow without fear of being left. My beloved child, you do not need to test this love. You do not need to prove it. You do not need to protect yourself from it. Let it meet you as you are. Let it teach your nervous heart that safety is possible. Let it soften what has been tight for too long. This is love without conditions. Love that stays. Love that carries. Love that heals. Love that does not leave when things get complicated. Love that chose you and does not reconsider. And as you continue forward, learning how to live inside this kind of love, you will notice something quiet but profound begin to happen. You will stop running. You will stop hiding. You will stop striving to be enough, because you will finally know that you already are. My beloved child, stay. Not because everything is suddenly easy. Not because all your questions have been answered. Not because the pain has completely faded. Stay because you are no longer standing where you once were. Something has shifted within you, even if you cannot yet explain it. You are not the same as when you first felt the urge to walk away. And this moment matters more than you realize. Staying does not mean you never struggle again. It means you no longer face struggle alone. It means you choose presence over escape, truth over avoidance, relationship over isolation. You have spent so much of your life learning how to leave emotionally, how to disconnect, how to numb, how to survive by distance. Staying now is not about forcing yourself into something. It is about allowing yourself to remain where healing is happening. I know staying feels vulnerable. Leaving feels cleaner, simpler, more controlled. When you stayed, you feel exposed. You feel seen. You feel the weight of emotions you once kept buried. But vulnerability is not danger when you are held in love. It is the doorway to freedom. And I am here, steady and unshaken, as you stand in that doorway. You may still feel the pull to retreat when things become uncomfortable. Old habits do not disappear overnight. They loosen gradually as trust grows. Do not shame yourself for feeling that pull. Simply notice it, and then choose again. Staying is not a one-time decision. It is a series of gentle choices to remain present instead of running. Stay when your mind tries to convince you that nothing is changing. Stay when patience feels difficult. Stay when fear whispers that you are risking too much. Stay when hope feels fragile. Staying in these moments is not stubbornness. It is courage expressed quietly. You are learning a new way of living, one that does not depend on constant vigilance or self-protection. You are learning how to rest without guilt, to trust without panic, to breathe without bracing for impact. That kind of learning takes time. It takes repetition. It takes staying long enough for your heart to realize it is safe. Do not measure this moment by how confident you feel. Measure it by your willingness. Willingness to listen. Willingness to remain open. Willingness to believe that love is not about to disappear. Confidence will grow later. Peace will deepen later. Right now, staying is enough. You do not need to rush forward to prove anything. You do not need to make grand declarations about the future. You only need to stay connected to me, to truth, to the part of you that is healing. That connection is where life flows again. My beloved child, staying does not trap you. It frees you. It frees you from the cycle of running and returning, from the exhaustion of starting over emotionally, from the loneliness of carrying everything by yourself. Staying allows roots to grow, and roots grow quietly, unseen, long before anything appears above the surface. There will come a day when staying no longer feels like effort, when peace feels natural, when trust feels familiar, when you look back and realize that the moment you chose not to walk away was the moment everything began to change. That day is not here yet, but it is coming, and staying is what leads you there. So stay, my beloved child. Stay with me. Stay with the process. Stay with the healing that is unfolding even now. You are not stuck. You are being strengthened. You are not delayed. You are being prepared. I am here. I have not moved. I am not growing impatient. I am not reconsidering my love for you. Stay not out of fear of leaving, but out of trust in what is being built. Stay because you are safe. Stay because you are loved. Stay because this is not the end of your story. It is the place where your heart finally learns that it does not have to walk away to survive. My beloved child, I gave everything to reach you, and I would do it again. Not because you finally stayed, not because you figured everything out, not because you proved anything. I would do it again simply because you are mine. From the beginning until now, my love has not been calculated or cautious. It has been complete, deliberate, and unwavering. You have walked a long road to arrive at this moment. You have carried fear, doubt, exhaustion, and questions that had no easy answers. You stood at the edge, ready to walk away, believing that distance might hurt less than staying. And yet, here you are. Not perfect, not finished, but present. And that matters more than you know. I did not come this far to abandon you now. I did not endure pain to leave you uncertain of my heart. I did not sacrifice everything so you would live, wondering if you still belong. Everything I did was to bring you here, to this place of truth, safety, and love. A place where you no longer have to run to survive. You may still feel fragile. You may still feel unsure of what comes next. That is okay. You are not required to be fearless. You are only invited to be held. The future does not depend on your strength. It rests in my faithfulness. What lies ahead will be shaped not by your perfection, but by my presence with you. Remember this always. When you feel tempted to walk away again, when old patterns resurface, when fear tries to convince you that staying is too risky, return to what you know now. Return to the truth that love pursued you, that love stayed, that love carried you when you could not carry yourself, that love paid a price so you could be free. I gave everything so you would never have to question your worth again, so you would never have to wonder if you matter, so you would never have to face your brokenness alone. My sacrifice was not symbolic. It was personal. It was for you. You are not standing at the end of something. You are standing at the beginning of a life rooted in truth instead of fear. A life where you no longer measure yourself by pain. A life where love is not something you chase, but something you live within. This is what my sacrifice opened for you. As you go forward, go gently. Do not rush yourself. Do not demand instant change. Let healing continue its quiet work. Let trust grow at its own pace. Let joy return when it is ready. I am with you in all of it. And my beloved child, if these words have carried you, let them carry others too. Bless this message with a like so it can reach hearts that feel unseen. Share it with those who are standing at their own edge, wondering if anyone would come for them. Stay connected by subscribing, so my voice can meet you again when you need reassurance. And yes, hype this message boldly, lift it high, so it can travel far and remind many that they are worth everything. You did not imagine my pursuit. You did not misunderstand my love. I sacrificed everything to reach you. And now that you are here, know this with certainty. I am not leaving. I'm walking with you forward always. Amen. My beloved child, hear me one last time as I speak with authority and love. What you have received here is not meant to stop with you. It is meant to flow like a river into countless lives. I say to you now, when you release your support, you are sowing light into darkness and placing bread into hungry hands. This is not generosity alone. This is obedience that echoes into eternity. Act now through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal. The giving links and QR code are waiting in the description. I bless your giving as seed that multiplies, as fire that spreads, as oil that never runs dry. Do it now, my child, and let what you place in my hands become salvation, healing, and hope for many.